what the significance of a Marco Rubio as a Trump pick for Secretary of State would be, in your view.
Marco Rubio is in the spotlight today, generating significant interest, as reports reveal President-elect Donald Trump's expected nomination of Rubio as Secretary of State.
Breaking news, Donald Trump is expected to name Senator Marco Rubio, a foreign policy hawk on China and Iran, as his Secretary of State.
This development has sparked widespread attention and is raising curiosity about what Rubio's appointment could mean for the future of U.S. foreign policy. If confirmed, Rubio would make history as the first Latino to serve as America's top diplomat, a groundbreaking moment symbolizing the growing diversity within the nation's highest levels of government.
Because together with Donald Trump, we are going to make America not just great, but greater than it has ever been before.
Rubio's role would put him on the world stage, where he'd represent American interests and guide critical diplomatic relations across the globe. Before we dive deeper into what this could mean for the U.S. and international relations, make sure to like and subscribe to stay updated on this and other trending topics in U.S. politics and policy. The potential nomination of Marco Rubio as Secretary of State is much more than just an appointment. It stands as a historic milestone with deep symbolic and social resonance. This nomination could be seen as a step forward in recognizing the diversity of the United States by placing a Latino figure in one of the most influential roles within the government. For many, Rubio's appointment would be an inspiring moment, showcasing how the American dream can come full circle for the son of Cuban immigrants. Rubio's heritage and background give him a unique lens through which he may approach global diplomacy, particularly in his interactions with Latin American countries. His appointment could also enhance U.S.-Latino relations and send a powerful message to countries around the world that America values representation and cultural diversity. With Rubio potentially representing American interests abroad, there is a heightened interest in understanding how his background might inform his diplomatic approach and what it could mean for minority communities within the U.S. Rubio's well-established views on foreign policy are no secret to those who have followed his political career. Known for his strong and often hawkish positions, Rubio's stance on global issues has consistently advocated for a firm and proactive American presence worldwide. His hardline stance on nations like China, Iran, and Cuba has defined his approach to international relations, and these views would likely shape U.S. foreign policy if he were to be confirmed as Secretary of State. Rubio's commitment to a robust foreign policy is reflected in his persistent calls for sanctions, military preparedness, and diplomatic initiatives that prioritize U.S. interests. His nomination could signal a renewed focus on confronting nations perceived as threats to American security and global stability. Rubio's appointment would thus represent a potential shift in U.S. foreign policy, with a greater emphasis on protecting national interests through strong, definitive action against countries challenging American influence. As Secretary of State, he would be tasked with balancing this assertive stance with the nuances required in diplomatic negotiations, aiming to uphold American power while fostering stability. Beyond Rubio's individual stance, his nomination highlights a broader transformation within the Republican Party's foreign policy framework, a shift that has gradually emerged under Trump's leadership. Traditionally, the Republican Party has supported a foreign policy centered on interventionism, advocating for active involvement in international affairs and military engagements to safeguard American interests. However, recent years have witnessed a gradual shift toward a more restrained and calculated approach, one that prioritizes strategic objectives over widespread intervention. Rubio's potential role as Secretary of State would underscore this evolving philosophy, balancing strength with selectivity. This adjusted outlook doesn't mean the United States will retreat from its responsibilities on the world stage, but it reflects a more nuanced approach that emphasizes diplomacy and controlled engagement. Rubio's experience and insights could help shape this approach, ensuring that the U.S. remains influential, yet measured in its actions. This shift within the Republican foreign policy framework highlights a response to modern geopolitical challenges, aiming to strengthen American interests, while avoiding prolonged conflicts. Rubio's perspective on the Ukraine-Russia conflict has drawn particular interest, given his nuanced position on this complex and divisive issue. While Rubio has supported strong measures to counter Russia's influence, he has also shown openness to the idea of a negotiated settlement, a stance that could potentially pave the way for stability in the region. His perspective reflects an understanding that prolonged conflicts can lead to humanitarian crises and economic strain, both for the countries directly involved and for the global community at large. As Secretary of State, Rubio's approach to the Ukraine conflict could represent a strategic balancing act, aiming to maintain U.S. influence and support for allies while recognizing the need for diplomatic solutions. A negotiated settlement with Russia, if pursued, would require intricate diplomatic maneuvering and may involve compromises that uphold Ukraine's sovereignty while addressing Russia's security concerns. This position, marked by a blend of assertiveness and pragmatism, indicates Rubio's recognition of the complex dynamics in international conflict resolution. His stance has attracted attention for potentially signaling a new approach to conflict management under the upcoming administration. As one of the most outspoken China hawks in the Senate, Rubio's potential role as Secretary of State would likely place the U.S.-China relationship at the forefront of his agenda. His strong stance against China has consistently advocated for strict policies to counter what he views as China's increasingly assertive global ambitions. Rubio has argued for economic and strategic measures to address issues such as intellectual property theft, military buildup, and human rights abuses, believing that a strong response is necessary to protect U.S. interests. In this potential role, Rubio would be in a position to shape America's response to China's influence in key areas such as technology, trade, and international alliances. His hawkish views may result in policies that reinforce alliances with other Asian countries, while working to limit China's reach in the global arena. Rubio's firm stance on China has been a defining aspect of his political career, and his influence as Secretary of State would likely steer U.S. foreign policy toward a more competitive posture in the Indo-Pacific region. For many observers, his potential leadership on China policy will be one of the most critical aspects of his tenure as the U.S. seeks to counter China's growing presence worldwide. In addition to its foreign policy implications, Trump's potential selection of Rubio as Secretary of State holds significant meaning within the domestic political landscape. Rubio's nomination could resonate deeply with Latino voters, a demographic that played an influential role in recent elections and could be key to future Republican electoral success. Rubio's background as a Cuban American provides him with a strong connection to this community, potentially strengthening the Republican Party's appeal among Latino voters. His nomination could be seen as an acknowledgement of the increasing political clout of Latino Americans and an effort to foster inclusivity within the party's leadership. Rubio's ability to connect with Latino Americans and articulate their concerns on a national stage could prove advantageous in broadening the Republican base, particularly in states with large Latino populations. His nomination would not only serve as a nod to diversity, but could also enhance the Republican Party's outreach and engagement with Latino voters, cementing its standing within this crucial demographic. The potential nomination of Rubio as Secretary of State is notable not only for its policy implications, but also for the unique political dynamics between him and Trump. Back in 2016, Rubio and Trump were fierce competitors during the Republican primaries, often clashing in heated exchanges that highlighted their differences in both style and substance. The rivalry was marked by moments of intense rhetoric, with both candidates leveling sharp critiques at each other. However, since that time, both figures have managed to set aside their differences, finding common ground on several key issues. Their reconciliation is a testament to the adaptability of political relationships and underscores their shared commitment to advancing the Republican agenda. This alignment is particularly evident in areas such as immigration, national security, and foreign policy, where Rubio's evolving views have increasingly aligned with Trump's vision. The potential selection of Rubio as Secretary of State thus symbolizes a convergence of interests and values between two former rivals, who have recognized the importance of unity in pursuing their mutual goals. Rubio's potential appointment comes as Trump rapidly assembles his foreign policy and national security team, signaling a proactive approach to preparing for the administration's new term. The urgency with which these appointments are being made suggests that Trump intends to approach his foreign policy agenda with decisiveness and clarity. By assembling a team of experienced and high-profile figures, Trump appears to be aiming for a cohesive and well-coordinated approach to international relations and national security. Rubio's potential role as Secretary of State would place him at the helm of this team, working alongside other appointees to address the challenges posed by adversarial nations, terrorism, and global instability. As part of this lineup, Rubio would bring a wealth of experience, bolstering the administration's credibility and signaling a strong commitment to safeguarding American interests. His presence on this team would add a layer of expertise and focus, particularly in areas like Latin America and Asia, where his insights could prove invaluable in formulating comprehensive and effective policies. Marco Antonio Rubio has become a prominent figure in American politics, bringing a wealth of experience and perspective to the table. Born on May 28, 1971, in Miami, Florida, Rubio is the son of Cuban immigrants who arrived in the United States in 1956 in pursuit of freedom and opportunity. His upbringing in a working-class family instilled in him a sense of resilience and an appreciation for the American dream, values that have influenced his career. Raised Roman Catholic, Rubio also briefly explored the Mormon faith during his childhood before returning to Catholicism, an experience that reflects his family's journey of faith and community. Rubio's academic pursuits led him to the University of Florida, where he graduated in 1993, and then to the University of Miami, where he earned his law degree in 1996. His early political career began with a position under Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen setting. And that's the latest on Marco Rubio's potential move to Secretary of State under President-elect Donald Trump, a decision that could reshape U.S. foreign policy in some major ways. As we watch how this story unfolds, one thing is clear. This could be a turning point not just for U.S. diplomacy, but also for Rubio's career and legacy. If you found this breakdown helpful and want more in-depth coverage on the top political stories as they happen, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. We've got a lot more coming your way, so don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Stay informed, stay curious.